This has been a long time coming. For the first time in my life, I can say that the South African national team is in a Cricket World Cup final. I'm holding myself back from crying here, but I'll do that if we do come out tops against India tomorrow. Now, this episode is a special one and it will be the preview to tomorrow's final. But briefly, before we do that, we're going to cover how South Africa smashed Afghanistan and India came up trumps against an England side that had a lot of complaints pre match, but no show on the day.
Yeah, we in the finals, boys. That's exciting. The semi-final was clinical. I think there's not much we did wrong there. Wicket was tough. That I think that was probably unfair sort of semi-final wicket to bat on, but we did what we needed to do. The bowlers were great. Seamers were incredible. Rabada bowled really well, and looks like Janssen has come good at the right time. And finally, he's getting those wickets. 3 wickets early up front. I mean, that Afghanistan lineup, we knew that top order scores most of their runs, and once we got them early, I think we were pretty comfortable after that. I think 57. I don't think it was going to be that low, but we got them there. We got them out, and then the batting. Not much to say there. It was a small total to chase. The guys did it professionally. They weren't. It wasn't the same complaints we had from the West Indies game where the guys just went on hoiks and that kind of stuff. So well done to them. And then the Indian game, yeah, Australia, England is getting blown away. I think there was just too much firepower in that that Indian batting lineup, and I think 170 was probably a bit too much for them at the end of the day. When you start losing Josh Butler early, it's always gonna be a tough one. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully when our next episode comes on, we will be world champions, rugby and cricket world champions.
Yeah, boys, we're finally in the conversation. I think one of Cricket World Cup's biggest travesties has been put right. Let's hope now we can go all the way. Both semi-finals, actually, both of them blowouts. South Africa all over Afghanistan, India all over England. I had mixed emotions after the South African game because, like most of the country, I woke up in the morning thinking I'll catch the second half of the game and then it was over. So that was quite sad to not be able to watch any of the match, but I was quite happy with the result.
So, a man from Den Haag, Coombs, is missing today, but we've replaced him with Ravi Shastri's nephew, Ravi, and just Ravi, the third shot for today. And he's going to give us a few of his thoughts as well. He joins me from South Africa. How are you feeling about the Proteas being in a World Cup final for the first time?
Thanks. Obviously, feeling super pumped as a cricket enthusiast myself. Haven't watched as much as I would have liked to. Definitely pumped for the final though. Feel very welcomed here, I have to say. Feel very welcomed here. Check out my boys. Very new experience for me. But very pumped to watch a South African final for the first time. I think that's a huge step for all of us.
So Ravi, so what viewers wouldn't know about you is that back in your day, you were an esteemed pace bowler. Averaging probably 20s, 25, strike rate about 35 in the 50 over game. Um,
He's the not spoken about Janssen triplet.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Now,
100%.
what you can't see on screen here is that below the bottom line of his video shot, there's about another 3 meters.
Yeah.
He's quite a long man, marking out his cousin, as Cove just alluded to.
Another 3 meters.
And Ravi, what do you think about one of your triplet bowling performance in the last game?
Very proud as a pace bowler myself. I think he's grown a lot in the tournament, and I'm looking forward to some heat coming in tomorrow.
So I think we all in pretty much the same place here. A bit nervous, but anxious, but quite excited that South Africa in that final. And we come up against an India side that possibly has been the best in the tournament. Now, we could go hand in hand and say South Africa hasn't lost a game. It's been 8 out of 8. India have gone 7 out of 7 with a washed out one against Canada. Now we come up as two undefeated teams. How do you guys actually think the final is going to go?
So yeah, like you said, BoiMaam, I'm very nervous. I think that Indian side is really strong. We're undefeated, but we probably haven't gotten out of second gear in most games. We haven't put the full performance together. Yes, Afghanistan were clinical, but we only had to chase 57. We bowled really well. I think once we come up against a a strong batting lineup with the kind of depth that they have, with the talent that they have. They've got power hitters throughout the entire lineup. That I'm really worried about. And then if you look at India's bowlers as well, Kuldeep coming into his own now as well, and Bumrah is the best bowler in the world at the moment. I think in all formats as well. Just accentuated in the short form because he's just 4 and over, 3 and over, taking wickets as well. He's unbelievable, unplayable. But we're gonna have to play well. We're gonna have to play well to beat them, and I think the team can do. We definitely have the talent. That middle order that we've spoken about before the tournament hasn't really shone yet, but I think this is the opportunity to really come good. They're all due a big innings. Hopefully, we get a wicket that's conducive to stroke playing, but I mean that also could work in India's favor as well. So, and then our bowling attack. I think the one thing we've discussed previously is Shamsi versus Bartman. I think that's something that the selectors will have to really think about. Do you go with the extra spinner against India, who are good players of spin? I think the one thing in Shamsi's favor is that he might disappear for runs, but he is a wicket taker, and in those games, at least the T20 games, you're not going to restrict teams by just bowling economically. You need to be taking wickets, and as a wicket taker, I think can really slow down that Indian batting lineup. So yeah, that's my only concern is whether they go with the extra spinner and pick Shamsi again, or they go to Bartman. But personally, I would go Bartman, but I think there's more than likely that we'll go Shamsi.
I'm just going to hold you right there. Then, key performance for South Africa in the final for you. Who do you think needs to perform, or who do you think is going to be the most important player for us?
Most important player, I think Quinny at the top of the order within the first 6 overs. I think it seems like he's the one that's going to go out and go hard. Reza's one hasn't been there long enough, so we don't know what his tactic has been. But generally speaking, he'll probably be the one that sort of accumulates, sits back, hits the bad ball for 4 and try and get off strike and gives Quinny as much of the strike as possible. I think obviously him. Klaasen, I think Klaasen, we really need to see him show his sort of devastating talent that he has and the power hitting that he has. That's going to be a big factor for us, and he's a very key player. And then with the ball, I think Nokia, definitely. He's been great the whole tournament. Every time a T20 World Cup comes about, he's performing when he's been in the side, and I think tomorrow will be no different for him. Those, I think, are probably my 3 key performers.
Yeah, no, I echo Divi's thoughts as well. I think the one thing we can't afford is to give India the upper hand in the game. I think we've got to dominate the game from start to finish. I'd be very nervy if we gave India the upper hand and had to try and claw the game back. I think that's where India are very good at squeezing with Aksha, Jadeja, Kuldeep. So yeah, I think the toss is going to be important. We'll discuss that a bit more when we talk about the venue just now. But overall, I think that in the power play, like you said, Quinny needs to target Arshdeep. I think we just got to bat Bumrah out and target the rest of the bowlers. Apart from that, on the bowling side, I think Keshav Maharaj has a big job to do. I think he's gonna need to squeeze because we know Rohit, Pant, Hardik, they're gonna go hard at our bowlers. So chances are 1 or 2 of them are going to go for high economy rates, and it's down to Kesh to squeeze. He needs to go at 5 sixes and over. But I'm quietly confident. We're definitely going in as underdogs. I think that suits us. I think that will play to our strengths. But like we mentioned last week, this tournament has been down to individuals, and our boys just need to win their individual battles. Well, like we discussed off air, if we go through each of the 11s, there's minimal difference between the 2 teams. It's very hard to pick. Yeah, but quietly confident. I think we can do it. We just need to get behind the boys, support them, and yeah, let's bring this cup home.
I think there is a risk of some conservative cricket. As you're saying, it's 2 undefeated teams. At certain times people are a bit reserved, so we could have quite a low scoring game in that regard. So hopefully there is some exciting cricket, and the guys come out heavy. But yeah, there is always a risk when it's 2 big teams coming in that there's a bit of a defensive play happening.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rabs. I think, especially from the South African team, their first final, they want to sort
Yeah.
of get rid of that choker's tag.
Sure.
And there's two ways that way you can go really hard and then it doesn't come off and then you get bowled out and everyone's like, oh my goodness, they've choked again. So they probably will tend to earn on the more sort of conservative side.
Yeah, no, I have a question for you boys though. Win the toss, bat or ball first.
Ooh, tough one. I'm gonna come in there and say I thought about this for the entire day today. From the time I woke up, I've been really amped about this game. It's kind of consumed me in a way because we've gone through this for so long, like not making a final. Now that we're there, we come up against a really strong team. Thought about it, and I think we haven't looked good chasing, even though I think cool we could possibly restrict India. I think we need to bat without pressure. So win the toss, bat first. And the one thing that we've been able to rely on throughout the tournament is that bowling lineup. They might get sent for a few runs, but I'd rather bank on them with the batsman having a slightly easier day batting first and then going from there. Conversely, you could say it might be nice to see what the pitch does before we bring the boys into bat. But yeah, I'll go bat first.
Yeah, I would also go bat first. I think runs on the board in the final is really important. Scoreboard pressure. I think we'll just do funny things to these players. But yeah, on the other hand, like you said, potentially an option to sort of bowl first or pitch down. The problem with that is a real belter, and then you end up chasing 210 in the final.
Problem.
That's
Yeah,
really
so
really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one other view is on what Devesh said earlier is, perhaps more of a mental view, is that that choker tag, the risk for South Africa batting first is that they want to have to bat out all their overs at a slow rate as opposed to being a bit aggressive. But, apart from that, I definitely think, batting second is
First.
batting first the way to go.
Yeah.
yeah, no, it is a difficult one. I mean, I can see it going both ways. I think if India win the toss, I think they bat first. If you look at the venue, we know earlier in the tournament there were not many games of real substance at the venue. But if you look in the Super Eights, the games that matter were the England, Australia, and the West Indies, Afghanistan. Both were won by teams batting first. Both teams scored 180 plus. The other two games against the USA, what is it, West Indies and England, both chased down 120 inside 10 overs. So I think it's going to be a batting friendly pitch. So I agree. I think we need to get runs on the board because you don't want to be chasing 200 plus after giving that Indian lineup a crack at the wicket. I think we've also got to play to our strengths, like you said. The bowling lineup has been our strength throughout the tournament, which I also find quite strange if you compare it to the 50 over World Cup where our batting was
Yeah.
it was bat first, no questions asked. We couldn't chase for shit. So I think we got to lean into that again. And yeah, no, I'm on the same page as you guys. Win the toss, bat first.
I think the only real issue with batting first for me is that because we're going into the final with a batting lineup that hasn't fired on all fronts, there is a natural pressure that comes with it. If we know that it's a good deck, the guys are going to come out thinking, "Shit, I have to find form," even though I haven't had any throughout the tournament. Especially a guy like Riza. I mean, Quinny could go really well. Markram might find a little bit, but I think Riza will be important to play a bit of an anchoring role in that sense. Now we've
Now, but he
said
can't
all we've
anchor the way
said.
he has been. He can't be 19 or
Yeah,
25. So
no, 100%,
he needs to be.
100%. He
I think the boys in the first 10 overs, they need to, with Quinny at the exception, he's him going hard. I think the boys must just be happy 130, 140 strike rate, and then just capitalize in the second half of the innings.
Yeah, I think build a base and then hope that between Stubbs, Klaasen, and Miller, someone goes big and smashes a few out the park, gets us to something defendable. And I'm thinking if it plays the way it has, as you've said, you're looking at around 180 to be in with a shout. Now, we've said a lot about South Africa and our chances. Key players for the opposition then. Who are we most worried about in that Indian lineup?
Got to get Rohit out early, brother. You could
100%.
see in the semi-final, he played a completely different innings than that last Super 8 game. He adapted, he played the ball on merit, and he still came out with a strike rate in excess of 160. So I think he's the key man. I think we must pray to God that Kohli bats for a few overs at a Riza rate, and then that gives us a chance towards the back end. But I think Rohit is definitely the key man. And again, Sky, you could see his class in the last two matches. As much as we've shat on him throughout this podcast, Hardik is also a key man at the end for them. In the last few games, he's been nailing it. Oh, we can go on and on. That's the scary part of this Indian team. So
Yeah, yeah.
But one player we weren't worried about is Rishabh.
No ball.
yeah, that's true.
This goes back all the way to how we started this off. We are Sanju fans.
Anjo,
Rishabh Pant,
Uh,
we have no time for that guy.
I agree with Kuv with the batting. Rohit definitely, we need to get him earlier as early as possible. And Hardik at the back end again, agree with that. And Sky, also agree with Kuv there.
This guy's
I think
big.
from the bowling perspective, it's obviously Bumrah. He's someone. If we get a hold of him, then they can start carving on him in the trophy after the first half of the innings. Fuck it. Then we did. No, then we did. We did. But yeah, looking through that Indian lineup, those are match winners. There's 11 match winners in that
Yeah.
side, and you got to worry about all of them. But the guys in form, Rohit, Bumrah, those are two for me the main ones that we need to make sure we neutralize.
BoiMaam, based off your video that you sent us earlier today, how do you think they're going to approach Kuldeep?
So if you guys are wondering what video Kuv's talking about, so Tristan Stubbs did a little piece on another podcast where he mentioned that Kuldeep refused to bowl to him in the nets in the IPL, and he thinks it's a bit of coming down to this World Cup. You want to show him that googly and give him a few trade secrets, so to say. But Kuldeep versus Stubbs, I don't know, eh? I have been of the opinion that Cody's been playing very well ever since he's come to the team. And for me, if I had to pick my most watched opposition players, he'd definitely be right up there. We've never, ever, ever been a team known to be proficient against playing spin. And I think between him and Aksha, that's probably going to be our biggest problem. Bumrah is by far, in my opinion, the best bowler in the world. But you can often see him off. If you leave a lot and just keep it simple, try and go at 5 and over, maybe 4 in Bumrah's case, probably get away with it. Arshdeep's swing, Kuldeep's spin, and Aksha doing not much but somehow getting wickets, for me, is a much bigger problem. I think at the top of that batting lineup, Rohit definitely is a force, but again, as I said previously, I think Marco Jansen's actually going to come up a bit trumps there. I think he's going to get Rohit early, and if they bat second and we put a few shivers down their spine with an early Rohit blow, I think we could be onto something. I'm just also worried about Kohli, as we said in the previous episode. He has to have a knock at some point. He's going to come in the final.
Due,
I really hope he
No.
doesn't.
I hope not. He is due for some runs, but hopefully he skips us. Let's hope.
Yeah. Robs, any key players you will be looking out for in the final?
Yeah, look, I think on a probability level, he has to have a good knock, like you guys are saying. I don't think he's gonna a whole tournament, this badly before. I think he's gonna feel it, he's gonna feel the pressure. And the one thing we know about the guy is when he's under pressure, plays like a diamond. So
Yeah.
I think we need to be careful of that, and just try and limit his runs.
I'd say if we get Rohit early, then there's even more pressure on him, and he can
100%.
give it away.
Yeah, because the key is when Kohli has scored big in the past, he's often done it at a rate that is not the most fantastic. I mean, it's not pathetic. People overplay it quite often. He's like the IPL, for example. He had a strike rate of like close to 140, which is pretty good when you're scoring 700 runs in an IPL season. He's the top run scorer in the T20 World Cup. Okay, Rohit's taken over that now because Kohli's being in crap form. But if he is due a knock and he doesn't go fast and we get Rohit out early, could put a lot of pressure on that batting lineup. And I hope for dear life that is what happens when it does come to it. Now, the one other thing, we were going on about Shivam Dube a few times, be it with the South African surname. Does he play the final? Do you think they make a change up? Do India go with the same side that they have all along?
I
Who
think
comes
so.
in
I don't think they're gonna make a change.
instead of Shivam though? Yeah, I think they play the same side, but who would come in instead of Shivam? I'll replace Shivam with Sanju, but that's hopeful. I think they go with the same side, and they'll go 100% with the same side.
Yeah, cool.
Nah, I agree.
Share the sentiment?
Yeah, I
I'm
don't think
not
they're gonna
sure.
change. I also don't think South Africa's gonna change, even though I think we're nervy about Shamsi. I mean, he can go into the final and do it,
Yeah.
but I think our nerves are justified. But I think he plays. I think both teams go in unchanged.
Okay, so we pretty much have our thoughts. Before we give you a prediction, let's go ahead and pick our best 11, a combined 11 from the two squads. This is going to be hella tough, but we're going to try and do it. So number one, number two, your openers, who do we go with here if we're to pick from the
I
best?
think I think this is the one where we're gonna have the least amount of discussion.
100%.
Yeah,
So Rohit QDK, and then
Yeah,
I
Rohit
completely
28.
agree. Rohit Quinton, Rabs, Rohit Quinton.
I have to agree.
Perfect. So we're on the same page there, Rohit Quinton, and I think that solves part of the problem with does punt play. It's a no from me. Quinton starts as your
No,
keeper.
Quantum.
You don't need punt,
no.
and I think Quinton trumps him on the keeping front itself. So perfect. Number three, big question. Then Kohli or Eden Markram? Or let's look at this as number three, number four. Kohli and Markram, do they still fit in? Sky in with a shout. Klaassen,
Sky
maybe
definitely
lower
plays.
down.
I think Sky plays
Sky
bats
plays.
four.
So
Sky
Sky
bats
bats
four. Number
four.
three is a problem. Number three is a problem because do you go Kohli based on just career stats and what he's done in the past? Do you go with him there? I would go. To Aiden Markham.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'll go Aiden Markram number 3 and also Aiden Markram to captain the side. He's coming on very well as a captain. So
I think BoiMaam would disagree with you there. I think he probably wants to get Hardik in the side to captain then as well.
I agree.
So look. For me, Hardik has to be in the side, and we'll get to that just now. But not as captain. Definitely not as a captain. You,
Okay, so what are we going? Five
if
and six.
anything apart from Aiden would have to be Rohit. And Rohit is ultimately, for me, definitely a better captain. But on evidence in the World Cup, and I think that's what we're picking the side on. I think it's fair to say,
Yeah.
form and on evidence from the World Cup, Aiden's captained really well, man. He's captained probably the best South African captain we've seen in years.
How's his
The only other
stats
one
though
we've
in
seen
his
is
world?
Temba
How's his World
Bavuma.
Cup stats? 16
It's
and
ridiculous.
16.
Under 19 World Cup, 6 out of 6. First South African captain to win an under 19 World Cup. 2 for 2 in the 2023 ODI World Cup, and now 8 for 8 in the 2024 T20 World Cup. So we've got that sorted. Markram 3 and Sky 4. 5 and 6. I think Klaassen goes in. I would definitely not
Austin
look at
goes in
leaving
at five,
Klaassen
yeah.
out. Klaassen goes in 5. They might argue that a few of theirs come in somewhere. Shivam Dube, I think not. I
No.
think you do go with Hardik Pandya for me, as I said. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree. He offers you bat and ball. He's been doing it in the World Cup. All arguments aside, I think purely cricket based, he's
But
been doing his job.
if we play Pandya, that means we're leaving out Janssen.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a
Which
big
is
Marco fan, but I think it's fair.
Yeah, but I guess you can go Janssen at 7, but you also got Jadu there, so you'll have enough for batter and ball. So I think you can leave Janssen.
So I would leave
Uh-huh.
Jadu out personally. So if I'm going
Yeah,
You
Pandya
leave
okay,
as
okay.
Jadu
well.
out
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Aksha is
Based on
actually a
this
better
World
shot
Cup.
than Jadu at this point.
based on
Yeah,
this World Cup. Okay.
yeah.
So Shivam doesn't play, so Hardik has to play.
Right, Hardik plays 6. You got 5 to go. I think I like to think of this from bottom up when I get to this point, just to know where we need to
Okay.
fill the gap in. So we'll go
Okay.
3. Let's go 3 frontline bowlers. Are you going to consider Hardik the third pacer or go 3 straight up pace? Add an extra spinner.
No, Hardik is no.
Nah, 3
We'll
paces.
pick six. We'll pick 6 bowlers in essence. We'll pick 5 like front line, and then obviously Hardik
Cool.
will pick.
So the next
Yeah.
5 positions are bowlers and someone from them that can bat. Then
Yeah.
Bumrah, Rabada, Nokia, I would say. Arshdeep is a
Agreed.
problem here.
Agreed.
Mm.
Those 3 I agree with. And then you gotta go. I would say you gotta go Keshav. You gotta go Keshav. He's bowled well this World Cup.
Look, I love Kesh. I love
For the
Kesh
batting,
really
I'd
well.
go Aksha.
I'd go Aksha as well.
For the batting.
I'd go Aksha,
Purely just for the
Aksha
batting.
Patel over Kesh.
I think bowling wise they've been neck and neck. But Aksha gives you that little
And
bit
I
more
think
with the bat.
Kesh gives you something extra in terms of game management, nous, brain. He can help you captain the side in essence. Aksha doesn't give
So are
you
we
that, but he
saying
does give you a few runs. And now you're playing 5 bowlers.
Okay. Happy.
we're saying
happy.
we're
I'm happy
leaving
with
out
both.
the prospective top leading wicket taker in this World Cup in Arshdeep.
Yeah, so the question now is we've got one spot to fill here, right? So we've got 4 bowlers down there. So we've got Aksha, Nokia, Bumrah, Rabada. One to
If you want
go. Do you go
Arshdeep in the side,
Kuldeep?
you pick
Do you
him.
go Arshdeep?
No, you can't. Yeah, I think if you wanna Arshdeep as a leading wicket taker, you pick him, and then Aiden Markram has to fill a spot there with the ball as well from a spinning perspective. Because you're only going with one spinner. I think
Are we right
you
there?
probably need to go with 2 spinners.
So I got one spot left for the bowler. Of course, Ravi was a pace bowler, and I'm expecting nothing less. But Arshdeep or Kuldeep? You going with a pacer, or you going with a spin bowler?
I'm going to go with Arshdeep here. I think he's most likely going to be one of the top wicket takers. And you know, as a pace bowler myself, that's definitely where my bias lies.
Expected nothing
I'm gonna
less
be
from a paceman.
I'm gonna be controversial.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use Hardik as an extra seam option. Drop Nokia and include Kuldeep. Based on
You see,
tournament.
I had this
Based on
question
tournament.
myself.
Oof. I would
I
not
don't
pick
know.
Arshdeep. I'd pick Kuldeep. I'll pick Kuldeep and leave out Arshdeep. Keep Nokia.
So in a straight shootout, which is looking like what it's coming down to here, I initially said Arshdeep, Kuldeep. Are we going Arshdeep versus Nokia? If you had to pick one, who would pick?
Okay. Arshdeep versus Nokia then. Based on the wicket taking ability, you got to go Arshdeep then.
You see, for me,
Yeah.
Arshdeep's wicket taking ability lies inside whenever the ball swings. Outside of that, I think Nokia might actually offer you a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with you. If the ball doesn't swing, Arshdeep is not as effective.
Who would you rather have bowl at the death? Arshdeep or Nokia at the death?
Nokia.
Nokia.
I'll go Nokia.
On current evidence, I'll go Nokia. Arshdeep for
Okay.
me, I think
Because I
that when
also
it
think
goes
Arshdeep's
pear-shaped, it
wickets
goes heavily
lie.
pear-shaped.
I think a lot of Arshdeep's wickets also lie in his bowling partner's effectiveness, basically Bumrah's effectiveness.
Yeah.
So
If they don't keep it tight from the other end. I mean, he's young. He's an excellent bowler.
okay.
We're not slating him at
Okay.
all. There's nothing wrong with his
I'm with you
caliber.
guys.
It's just when it
I'm with
comes
you
down
guys.
to it,
Nokia
we're going
Nokia
Nokia.
Kuldeep.
Nokia
So
Kuldeep.
final 11 then. Number 1, Rohit Sharma. Number 2, QDK. Number 3, Aiden Markram. Number 4, Surya Kumar Yadav. Number 5, Henrik Klaasen. Number 6, Hardik Pandya. Number 7, Aksha Patel. Number 8, Rabada. Number 9, Kuldeep. Number 10, Nokia. And the last man, and possibly the best man, Jasprit Boom Boom Bumrah. So that's our 11. That's our prediction 11. Quite a tough one to call. I mean, realistically, you could add most of the players in both the squads. You could even
We
pull
never even
players off
mentioned
the
Muller's
bench like
name.
Otniel Bartman, who...
And he took us over the line in a few
Yeah,
games.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't mentioned Muller. We briefly mentioned Stubbs earlier. Both of those definitely in with the shot. Jadu, we haven't mentioned him. His pedigree. We've gone big and left out Virat based on form, not based on pedigree. I don't think any one of us is dumb enough to think that he's not due innings. And as we've said, he is due innings. But that's our best 11. Now, finally, and we'll close with this, predictions. Proteas to win? Yes, no?
Definitely, I think we all have to agree with that as South Africans ourselves.
Bat first, 60 plus in the power play, post to score 180 plus, put the pressure on India and bring the cup home.
Yeah, I agree with you guys as well. I reckon India bat first, make 205. We chase that thing down 17 overs, 2 down. Boom.
So our boy Coombs gave us a Rolling Stones of a prediction last week, telling us how X, Y, and Z were going to roll, and then Marco Jansen was going to dive in, and the ball's going to roll away, and we're going to get a model victory like England, and blah, blah, blah. But Divesh, you have a little message for me for all the South Africans that support India, very much like what we call the Manenberg Maoris in terms of our rugby. What do you make of the South African Indians that will support India tomorrow?
No,
How's that?
You support South Africa. You're born in South Africa. You live in South Africa. That's who you support. You are Indian by the heritage. Your connections came on the boat
Yo.
100 years ago. You are not South African. You can't speak Indian, Tamil, nothing. Your slangs are all based in Afrikaans and Zulu. So you gotta support this.
I completely agree with the sentiment, and we'll close on that. If you are South African and you do not support the boys tomorrow, go hide yourself under a rock, because we do not want to see you celebrate when we win the World Cup for the first time. 2024 is the South African year. We're going to be champions of rugby, champions of cricket, and then we're going to roll things over and keep this going into the future. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please drop us a like, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and don't forget you can also listen to us on all the audio platforms like Audible, Apple Music, Spotify, and the works. Until the next one, please take care. Don't forget to pour a shot and cheers.